Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Barry here with the Scryguystv, and today we're going to be talking about the press conference that they had at MagicCon, and they spoiled some pretty cool things for Lost Caverns of Ixalan. So let's check out what I'm actually pretty hyped about is these lands. Wow, these actually really look cool. It's been a while since I've been excited about some basic lands, because you're like, who's ever excited about basic lands? I am, you know what I mean? Recently, like I used to be really heavy into matching all my lands, but I've been getting so lazy, and I've just been mixing white bordered lands, full arts, old border, new border, like a regular border and all that stuff. But these are so pretty. They look like postcards. It's really awesome. And like, especially that forest, my favorite color is green, so I play a lot of green. But wow, these all look like just really cool poster art or postcard type of thing, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, let's talk about the new Huatli, Poet of Unity, 2 in a green legendary creature. It is Naya for the commander colors, but when it enters the battlefield, you search a land. So you search a land for your 4th land drop if you're missing any, but it flips into a saga, which at the first chapter you create 2 3/3 dinos. Second one, it acts like a land, like a Urza Saga. Third, you pretty much tutor for a dino, and then all your dinosaurs gain double strike and trample to end of turn. And if you're building a Naya deck, this might take over the previous one, Gishath, I believe it was called. But I'm trying to wonder, like, so after the 4th chapter, does it just go back onto the battlefield like the boring, like the Phyrexians from the last previous sets? I'm not too sure. Just because, like, if it just flips back into Huatli, then you just get another land. So that's pretty cool. I actually really enjoy this. Doesn't do too much, also because like I'm also iffy on enchantment, because then people just, at the best for 5 mana you made 2/3 dinos, which isn't such a great rate, because then the next time you want to do it, you have to spend 5 to bring them out or bring her out, and then 5 more to exile her, and then hopefully you get to the last chapter. So I'm kind of iffy on this. I might like this more as like a part of the 99 of a Gishath deck. I still think Gishath is is a lot stronger, just because at least when it hits the battlefield, it has the trample. You can hit the player with the least amount of like power on the board. Like maybe someone just has like a couple, like a elf or 2 out or something like that. So I think that's still stronger. I think this will slide in nicely though in that Gishath deck. I'm not going to try to say the name, because I know I'm going to butcher it like a school teacher, but it's a 2 in a red. We have Gods on Ixalan, legendary creature, trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than its power to an opponent, that source deals equal to the power of this creature instead. And then when it dies, it flips into Temple of Power. Tap for red, 2 in a red, tap it. You can transform it back into the creature side if you've dealt 4 non-combat damage. So that kind of evades commander attacks. If you're building a little bit of a Voltron burn deck, this can get pretty powerful pretty quickly. I'm not a huge fan of playing mono red decks in Commander. I feel like they always like peter out pretty fast, especially if you're not playing like a CEDH red deck, which, fair to say, I've died to my fair amount of Heartless Hidetsugu's activations. But yeah, this one looks pretty fun. As a commander, I'm not the authority on mono red commanders, so I can't really comment too much on it, but that's a pretty strong effect. You could turn if you buff this up like +4 +2 power, now your 1 mana bolt becomes or your 1 mana like shock becomes, shock for 6 for 1 red mana, or your bolt becomes it's pretty crazy. And then the fact that it could evade commander attacks, I think, is really cool. right? Ghalta, Stampede, Tyrant, 5 and 3 green legendary creature, Elder Dinosaur, Trample. When Ghalta enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield, and it is a 12. This is nutty to me, just because if you build them in some sort, in like reanimator decks, you can reanimate, you could pitch this to the graveyard, reanimate it, take 8 life, trigger on the stack, you can Return of the Wild Speaker, draw 12, and then just every creature that you gain. It's crazy to me because it is an ETB and not a cast trigger. If it was a cast trigger, it would make a lot more sense, right? Yeah. But yeah, like the fact that you can animate dead, reanimate, necromancy it, dance with the dead. There's so many ways you can cheat this in. It almost acts like the card from Lord of the Rings, Last March of the Ents, where I mean, it doesn't draw you the cards, so you still have to figure that out. But I feel like green nowadays doesn't have as much of an issue drawing cards as it did 5-6 years ago, because you know there's Rishkar's Expertise, there's Regal Force, like I said, what was Shamanic Revelation. There's a whole bunch of green card draw now that, yeah, it depends on the power of the board sometimes, but still you can easily draw a bunch of cards with the ETB trigger on their stack, or you can set it up for the turn before you drop this down to just blah everything out there. Like, you know, just imagine like you have like 10 cards in hand, 8 out of 10 are creatures, one of them is a Crater Hoof, one of them is a cavalry, a Moonshaker Cavalry. It is so gross. And 8 mana for a green deck is absolutely nothing, especially if you're playing like 1 or 2 colored, like if you're playing Golgari, you know, just to be able to reanimate it or cheat it out somehow, is nuts. I mean, you could Birthing Pot it into it, you could like get a whole bunch of Avengers Zendikar, and then Birthing Pot that away into this, and then you it is such a green card, and I'm pretty in love with it. Let's go to our next card. Breeches, Eager Pillager, 2 in a red, legendary creature, Goblin Pirate. Dude looks like he means business. First strike, whenever a pirate you control deal attacks, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Create a treasure token. Target creature can block. Exile the top card of your library. You may play this turn. Now, this is a red commander card that I might be like super into. Just because, like, one, it gives pirates evasion. So like if you're attacked with multiple pirates, I'm figuring, oh, do you only whenever a pirate? So yeah, the way I'm reading it is maybe you have a couple, like maybe you have 2 pirates out, maybe you can choose different modes for each one. So at max you're choosing 3, which is going to draw you a card, ramp you, and then it's going to be able to give you evasion for your pirates to get through. So for you Beckett Brass players out there, you might want to slot this in there as soon as it comes out. As a commander, I think it'd be a really cool commander, just because it's always giving you something. And for the curve, it's a 3 mana 3/3 with first strike and a pretty not bonkers ability, but a really good ability, you know, just to even get damage through. And then, you know, maybe you're playing this in a Malcolm, what's the red giant guy, the one where you can sack artifacts to reduce the spell by 2. You know what I'm talking about. So I think this is gonna be really good for pirate decks. As a standalone red commander, I think he might be a pretty interesting build, just because it's a fun tiny commanders kind of commander. If you guys don't remember tiny commanders, I believe it was all your commanders have to be 3 or less. So yeah, just a fun card. All right, let's look. The Skullspore Nexus, 6 and 2 green legendary artifact. The spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control dies, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power and toughness equal to the power of those creatures. You can tap it for 2, double target creature's power until end of turn. Oh, my mind automatically went to a Golgari deck where you just keep making a whole bunch of grave crawlers, and then you keep making a whole bunch of grave crawler, or I guess green fungus grave crawlers. And So I mean, like, obviously you can go really tall with this, just doubling up your creature's powers. You can go that route, which I feel like is always a much more casual, fun way to go. You can combo it with a grave crawler type of situation where you keep bringing it back and keep casting it and all that stuff and keep sacking it. There's a lot of ways you can go kind of crazy with this card. It's not a great hand, so it doesn't draw you cards, but it still will fill up your board substantially. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm a green guy. I would love this just for any kind of like go tall strategy. If you're playing Xenagos or anything of the sort, and then you have a big tramply creature, this can obviously kill one person guaranteed, and then hopefully you can use the rest of your board to take care of your other players. So but one thing I do gotta say is I love the showcase art for this set. I'm really feeling it. Like, the art is on point. I was watching a little bit of the press release, and I think they got a team to really do the art justice. And because I feel like it looks like they're really heavily borrowing from like Aztec culture, or I can't say it, I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the art this set. Cavern of Souls. This, I was trying to make sure that the symbol was the same as like the symbol for the actual set, but this is coming out, and I am supposing it is going to be standard legal, so it's just being reintroduced into standard. I don't know how heavily that's going to affect the meta or the format, just because I don't really play too much standard. I mainly just play a commander. But wow, finally I can grab one for hopefully on the cheap. But if you guys don't know what Cavern of Souls is, it is a land. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. It taps for colorless, or you add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature type, or creature spell of the chosen type, and it can be countered. So a lot of people like to put this in their typo decks just to make sure that, one, their commander doesn't get countered, or some of their key creatures can't get countered. The countering is always the scariest part, right? But I'm super hyped, and it's really cool because with this one, they have the regular art, and then they have like these showcase arts, and you'll see it in a couple slides. They have another card that's like this, and I had put all the art on there so you can kind of see it. It's all like color coded, so that's really cool. And Lord of Atlantis. So I believe, I'm guessing for the collector boxes and maybe the set boxes or set booster boxes, they're going to be having some cards called special guests, where it's going to be, I guess, printing cards from Magic history, just like what they did with Wilds of Eldraine, Enchanted Tales. I guess they're doing it for this as well. Maybe they're going to start doing it for all the other sets too. But yeah, super cool. Classic Merfolk Lord. Really excited to see what comes next, or what else comes with it, you know what I mean? And then, whoa, Mana Crypt. So I know a lot of people were disappointed that this wasn't in Commander Masters, and maybe this is why, because this is going to be a special guest card with a whole bunch of alternate arts. I think they started doing like these color-coded arts in Kamigawa, like neon Kamigawa. So this one, I mean, hey, if it gives more people more access to the card, I'm always up for it. Mana Crypt was getting way back up there again, you know, after a couple reprints have hit it. So this is really cool. Again, loving the art. I would be super excited to get the green one, because that one's like the coolest one to me. But yeah, how do you guys feel about this? I'm happy just for anyone that can get their hands on it. This is really cool, and it is a Commander staple. So yeah. And what else do you guys want me to say about this, right? And and then obviously the Jurassic Park stuff is coming out with this set. It had to, you know, like, why wouldn't it, right? So we're getting they showcased a couple cards in here. We got a Saga, Welcome to Ellipses. 1 and 2 green. The first one says, for each opponent, up to 1 target non-creature artifact they control becomes a wall with Defender, as long as you control the Saga. Second chapter, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. It gains haste until end of turn. And then third chapter, destroy all walls, exile it, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. I don't know what it, oh yeah, it does. It transforms, I believe, into this. Yeah, see. Jurassic Park. Each dinosaur card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. And then it is a Gaia's Cradle specifically for dinosaurs. So hopefully you guys get your artifacts and enchantments that can change all the creature types into dinosaurs. A really roundabout way of not having to pay $1,000 for a Gaia's Cradle. Super cool. We got Ian Malcolm, Chaotician. I butcher that, right? One in is it legendary creature, human scientist. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, that player exiles the top card of their library. During each player's turn, that player may cast a spell from among the cards they don't own, exiled with him, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. So I'm looking at you, knowledge pool players. I don't want this to be another what's the Azorius girl? The Azorius girl from Ravnica, where it says like players can't play spells for free or whatever, or Boromir. Sorry, I'm completely wrong. I just know someone's gonna knowledge pool lock some people, other people out of like some of the cards in their set or in their deck. That's gonna be butt, bro. And then we have Indominus Rex Alpha, 1 Dimir hybrid mana, green legendary creature, dinosaur mutant. As it enters the battlefield, discard any number of creature cards. It enters with a flying counter on it if a card discarded this way has flying, so on, so forth. Keyword soup, basically. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each counter on it. It kind of reminds me of the Ikoria Commander. I think it's like the Abzan one that was also another keyword soup kind of commander. So, but this one's cool. Like, if you're going to, as you're casting it, if you're going to be playing a Reanimator, like a what's called Soul Tie deck, I mean, that's pretty Soul Tie right there. This is like a great discard outlet for you to get those things into the bin and then bringing it back maybe to your hand or onto the field, or maybe getting Waste Not triggers or all that stuff. So I think this will be a pretty it kind of reminds me of Mimeoplasm, but not with the ability, but you know what I mean. So I think that'd be cool. I'm kind of excited to see the rest of that set too. I'm not a huge Universes Beyond fan, just because I'm like, I don't want your Jurassic Park in my Magic the Gathering, but maybe that's just me shaking my fist at the cloud. So I don't know if they're going to be doing anything else from Magic Con, if they're going to be doing more press releases or press conferences and all that stuff, but this is everything that I found pretty interesting. Go ahead to the Magic the Gathering channel to check out the rest of the press release. I know they did the Lord of the Rings holiday special cards on there, so take a look at those, because there's a whole bunch of new cards on that as well. And then now they're also releasing more limited series cards for that set too, so that's pretty crazy. And then it's a whole bunch of different kind of foilings, like double foiling, rainbow surge foiling, I don't know. But tell me what you guys think about the leaks so far. I'm pretty excited. I just big stompy creatures was my play style when I first started playing Magic. Just wanted to crash in and just go in for combat damage, and this is kind of the set that's kind of reminiscent of that. All right, guys. Well, and let me make sure. All right, nothing else for you guys. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to comment down below. Let us know what you think and all that stuff. Have a go. And then comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. All right, bye.